Hey everybody. Well, in your wind turbine build, you'll run across the need to make coils. One of the things I didn't find a whole lot of information on, or a lot of detail, I should say, on how to create the coil winder itself. So I wanted to kind of give my version of this, or what I built to create my coils, and so far it's worked pretty good. I kind of saw what people already had out there, but there wasn't a lot of explanation. One of the main things I had was how to release the coil after it's been wound, tight around your little spool up there. Wasn't a whole lot of explanation on how that worked, or I didn't find anything actually, but I see there's more out there now. So I guess I'll just add, my version of this and how I built it. This one right now is set up. It's got for these little spools. I just made this spool today because I got some new magnets, these little tiny things, because I want to make a smaller generator. Just try something new. I haven't even finished my first one, so getting ahead of myself. But um, so on the back, I got two spools currently because I was wanting some 12-volt coils, and that's these right here. You can do them any shape. Got them in a square shape. This is just 24-volt. Same magnets I'm using, but I'm making a 12-volt system as well. Eventually, actually, I'm just doing 24-volt to begin with, but just doing the coils for that, trying it out. And so you have the two spools on the back right now because you do two parallel wires for the 12-volt system, 14 gauge. And so they come off the spools or spool, whatever you're winding at the time. And they come through these two rollers. Those are made out of skateboard wheels. And then you can carve that out with a grinder, bench grinder, whatever, to get a nice groove so they stay in there as they come around, as the wire comes around. Comes up to your coil spool up here. And those are made out of polycarbonate, inch thick or 3/4 inch polycarbonate. I know that's not something that most people would have just laying around. I just happened to from a while back. I had some scrap stuff, but it worked pretty good for this because it holds its shape. The holes don't get wallowed out, from pulling the bolts on and off, and the pieces, splitting the spool apart every time I'm making a coil. And so that's one of the questions that I didn't find a lot on, is how to make this thing and how to make the coil release from the spool after you're done winding. So you wind it, and you're keeping the tension on this thing as you're going. So you keep a nice tight coil, and by the time you get to the end, okay, how does this thing really release? And I'm sure it's out there. Actually, I know it's out there some places. I didn't really find a whole lot of detail when I went to build this one. So part of the reason I'm making this video. And so this one in particular, take off the three nuts, you pull off the one side, and when I had made these, I had stacked these pieces together and drilled the 3/8 holes, because that's what these bolts are, straight through. I did them on drill press, so they're nice and perpendicular straight through on both of them, and they match up. And so, and this is the spacer that goes in between here, that keeps the however, the width or thickness of your coil you got there. And then so put these back in here real quick. So what happens is, so you pull that one side off, that spacer drops out, and this is the part, maybe it's obvious, maybe not, but so I left these holes drilled straight through, and these ones I wallowed out and grooved towards the center of the spool or the coil, whatever you want to call it. And that way, you pull that one side off, that spacer drops out, these collapse in, and your coil comes off nice and neat. You're not scratching the enamel or nothing, and that, I mean, worked great for me. So that's what I came up with in, the simplest form I could design, I guess. So, and so far it's worked real good. Other pieces on this, let's see. This, I don't know, you call it a drive shaft, or this main shaft that the spool connects to. That's a 1/2 inch. One reason I made it 1/2 inch because I had the bearings that fit that. These are, obviously 1/2 inch bearings. They found some pipe that they fit inside, and then and they got the type with the little collar on there. So you could do it, without that, but it makes it kind of nice. And the 1/2 inch shaft. Another reason is got this hand crank. I prefer, so at least so far, to do it with the hand crank. It's easier to keep the coils in line rather than, because otherwise I could pop this off, put a drill on it, and really make it, spin. But I just think it's easier to keep the coil looking nice and in line on each turn by hand rather than putting a motor on it. But whatever your preference, that's why I made it the way I did, so that way I can interchange it. Put a drill on it if I want to, or if I just want to, just rewind like these spools. I made this thing so that slides right on there. I could put a spool on there, put the drill on there, and just feed off one spool to another, and I can rewind my spools real quick. So that's another feature that helps out sometimes. And I found that these rollers, it's much easier to, if it's obvious or not, but much easier to wind it off a roller than pulling it directly off the spool when you're winding your coil. It just you have a lot more control, and you can keep tension on it easier, and it just keeps it nice in the line when it's feeding up here, going that way as you're cranking versus underneath or back here or wherever. And I drilled several different holes so this arm will kick back and forward, whatever your preference, so it's got its adjustments. It's fairly simple. I mean, it could be more simple than what I did, but I have the stuff to here to fabricate it, weld it up, and do it the way I did it. But pretty basic design when it gets down to it. The main parts, something to hold the spool in the back. You got your kind of T right here, your drive shaft thing going through there, your hand crank or drill, whatever you prefer, and your rollers. Oh yeah, of course, can't forget the counter. That was real simple. I chose to go with the mechanical counter because I don't know, I could see myself resetting the electronic one accidentally. So I went the mechanical one, real simple. And I found a piece of pipe or tubing that this little thing fit inside. So reset it, boom, you're ready to go. That's, I think, about it. I don't want to make this too long, but let's see. This is the other spool. This is for the square ones. Oh yeah, when you're making these, when you get the thing all wound together, you want to have some way to keep it wound together. So in this case, I made slots. I can electrical tape through here, or zip tie. And these ones I can do small zip ties on either one of these. Also, I can pull the wire to start with through these slots, one of them, and that hooks it. And so when you start running, it doesn't pull away. That's another feature, or I would say necessity on these things. And this is the same one like I showed you earlier, just the tapered coils, and that one worked real good as well. Same thing, I got the gaps for tape or zip ties, and I just put one up top because with that skinny bottom, a single bolt, you can't really fit anything. I guess you could put a slot there if you wanted to, but it just worked well the way I made it for me. But that's about it. I think I said about 100 times. Not too good at this video stuff, but hopefully that helps somebody out. I don't know, I just didn't find a lot when I was doing it, so I was trying to recycle the information. I know I've got a lot of information from others on the internet, and hopefully this helps somebody out. If you got any comments, questions, or maybe something you want to see from this particular piece, or something else in the process, I'm learning as I go, so just let me know, and maybe I'll make another video. I'm trying to do it as I go, but I'm a little late on the game as far as doing it as I go. So, but better late than never. So, thanks for watching, and hope you subscribe.